Good afternoon, boys and girls. This is Mr. Cardinal here with Lesson 2 of Chapter 7, which talks about least common multiples, better known as LCM. The objective for today's lesson is to find common multiples and the least common multiple of a set of numbers. Now, just to review what a multiple is, if I were to ask you what the multiples of 2 are, you can see in blue I have a list of multiples of 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And obviously it would continue on. For multiples of 3, I have highlighted in yellow. So it's every third number on the number line. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Now going back to the notes, vocabulary. A common multiple is a multiple that is the same for 2 or more numbers. So if I look at my number lines with my multiples of 2 and my multiples of 3, the common ones, I see that I have a common one under 6. I also have a common one for 12. So 6 and 12 are common multiples of 2 and 3. The least common multiple, second vocab term, or LCM, is the least number other than 0 that is a multiple of 2 or more numbers. And again, my two number lines, I have 2 numbers, so I have multiples of 2, and multiples of 3. My multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And as I did up above, I'm going to circle my common multiples. The least common multiple then is again the lowest number other than 0, which is the multiple of both of these numbers. So my LCM for 2 and 3 is 6. Taking a look at another example, again, I'll say it again. To find the least common multiple of 2 numbers, you can begin by listing the multiples of one number.
Just a quick announcement, an announcement for the yearbook staff. There will be no yearbook meeting today after school. If you have any questions, please see Mrs. Lamy. Thank you.
Multiples of 8 would be 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and so on. Let's say I have multiples of 6. Start with 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. You can see the pattern here, and I can continue on. Looking at 8 and 6, I see that I do have shared numbers. The first shared number that I see, and only shared number at this point in time, is 24. So 24 is considered a common multiple, but it's also the least common multiple because it is the first multiple other than 0. Now, at times, the most efficient way to find the least common multiple is to use the prime factorizations. So if I have 8 and 6, prime factorization, actually these would be equal signs, 2 times 2 times 2, if I use my factor tree and come up with my prime factors. And for 6, it would be 2 times 3. If you circle the greatest number of times each different factor appears, and then find the product of these factors, so again, 2 appears 3 times, and 3 appears once. And if you multiply these together, you have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, which equals 24. Now there are two very helpful rules for finding the LCM in special situations. The first rule: the LCM of two numbers that have no common factors other than 1 is the product of the two numbers. So for example, the least common multiple of 5 and 7 happens to be 5 times 7, which equals 35. If one number is a multiple of another, the larger number is the LCM. So LCM of 3 and 12. Well, we know the factors of 3, 6, 9, 12. And since 12 is the second number we are looking for multiples of, 12 itself is a multiple of 3 and 12. So the least common multiple is 12. If you have questions or comments on today's lesson, please bring them to class tomorrow and be ready to learn.